So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Well, hello there, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast with an absolute breaking news piece where Jan Bednarek has agreed to join Aston Villa on a one-year loan deal from Southampton. Looks like he's going to do his medical. He's chosen us over West Ham United, and look at the big smile on his face there. He's delighted to be coming from all the way up from Southampton, all the way up to Birmingham to play the rest of the season with Aston Villa Football Club. A player that has split opinions online. I think since we were very, very first linked to him, some Southampton fans have said that, look, he brings what he brings to the team at the minute, but that they felt that he was maybe getting a bit stale and could move on, could do it, maybe moving on to a new pastures new. They've obviously brought in one or two centre halves over the last year or so, and they're looking to freshen up the look of that their centre back partnership. For me, bringing in a centre half was an absolute must and was something that we absolutely just had to do. It was non-negotiable for me today. A centre half had come in. We've seen over the last few games whereby our centre half partnerships have been changed around. Mings has been probably our only solid centre half this season since Diego Carlos has gone out. And look, I don't need to go over old road with regards to Ezri Konsa again. I just think that he hasn't been the same player that he was at the start of last season, towards the end of the season before, and it's just been he's been somebody who's been caught out of position, and he's been somebody who was hesitant throughout, I suppose, the last 2, 3, 4 games that he's played in for Aston Villa, specifically, even going back into pre-season as well. So I think defensive reinforcements are very much wanted, very much needed, and very much appreciated. And to be honest with you, I don't think Jan Bednarek is as bad as people are saying online. And we will take a look at some statistics as to why. So one or two things before we look at statistics, I will be always prefacing these videos with, look, statistics are one thing and we always say that, but obviously, watching players, and this has been somebody that has been linked to us for over a week now. I think, is it over a week? I think it's nearly over a week now. So I've watched a good bit on him. And he's a very athletic player. He likes to play. Yeah, it's an interesting one actually for me when I watch him. And if you look at any of his heat maps and you look at any of his average positioning and so on, and even if you watch him in games, now I watched a couple of games of his in 2019, or I watched clips of a couple of games of his, should I say, in 2019 when he had was it 2019? 2020 or 2020-21 season. I can't remember which one it was, but he had the young French fullback called Valery or Varelli, or I can't remember how you pronounce it. He was playing outside him, and he used to go pretty far forward like Matty Cash does at the moment. And Jan Bednarek was absolutely brilliant that season. He was really good. He was a tough defender. Southampton started off like a train, and then it kind of all funneled back for them as the season went on. While he's been playing at Southampton as well, then in the more recent matches I've watched him play, obviously, or the more recent clips I've watched him play, Kyle Walker-Peters has been one of their main outlets, and outlets playing wide. He's played both right back and left back, and when he plays right back, he goes very, very far forward as well. He's an attacking threat. And last season he was up and down the field, and Jan Bednarek sometimes, I suppose, was kind of, I'm not going to say caught out of position, but he was able to deal with things. But Stuart Armstrong and the likes were playing in front of Kyle Walker-Peters, and it was just a bit more difficult. There was a lot of space for him to cover there. So he has experience playing in a team whereby the fullbacks bomb forward. He's done it well in some seasons. More recently, he's been a bit more static, and only in the last 2 games has he lost his position for Southampton. I would imagine that that was a combination of them wanting to bring in maybe a different type of centre half. And but prior to that, he had played in over 30 games every season that he had played for Southampton. Every full season he played for Southampton. So this is not like, it's not like we're bringing in this awful player that a lot of people want us to believe, or a lot of people want to talk about. He's got a player who's got his frailties. He's a player who has his idiosyncrasies. But you name me a centre half in the Premier League outside of well, you name me a centre half in the Premier League that doesn't have those idiosyncrasies. Probably Ruben Diaz is the only one. And for somebody to come in like this, like a Jan Bednarek, to be able to come in and add to our four centre halves, he brings something a small bit different. He's not going to be the marmalade on everyone's toast, but he's a very, very functional player. And I think for a 1-year loan deal, while while Diego Carlos is on his way back from injury, I think this is a pretty shrewd signing for somebody with over, I think it's something like 120 Premier League or 150 Premier League appearances under his belt. I think it's a pretty shrewd signing. He's only 26 as well. Let's take a look at some of your comments first, though, before we get on to this. So American Villain says, the Donker and Bednarek give us the height and the presence we need. Exactly. We're lacking a bit of front-up ability, and these two guys are units, and they'll be able to do that, hopefully. Just require a winger and an 8 to make me way too excited about Villa again. Yeah, and the day is young. We've been linked with a couple of wingers. We've been linked with a couple of 8s. We've been linked with a winger and an 8, I suppose, really, in Gerson from Marseille. Somebody who I have... somebody who's an interesting player, considering his time at Roma, then playing with Flamengo and so on. And he's an interesting type of player, and he's definitely a player who will progress the ball forward for sure. And should anything come on that, I actually have a piece ready to go on him. Should anything come of that, I've had it for maybe about a month and a half now. But he was never linked, so it was part of my scouting series, so I didn't bother putting it up there. But should anything come of that, we will be able to take a look at him as well. Also, there's another one here. David Stiles says, Arugmanum to QPR, according to Greg Evans, the domino effects from the Donker transfer. Yes, I still think, like, if, let's just say, Arugmanum goes out, Luis goes out, I still think that there must be incomings in the central midfield department. There just has to be, because we're skin on the ground as it is there. And if you remove 2 and you only replace 1, and then we've got Sanson and Nakamba there, who he's been reluctant to use, I just see an equation there that doesn't quite equate. So if somebody like Tim does go out, which would be a fantastic move for him, lads. Let's not denigrate that. It'd be a fantastic move, but I think that there has to be more movement in the market than for a number 8 somewhere along the line. But that's not what this podcast is all about. That's not what this podcast is all about. Christopher Gonzalez makes a great point about Jan Bednarek. He does play on the same side as Matty Cash for Poland, so there could be some sort of simpatico there. And look, partnerships and relationships like that can help people gel into teams a small bit quicker. I'm probably clutching at straws with stuff like that, but we can't have a centre half come in and take 6 or 7 games to get up to speed. That's why signing an experienced centre half from a Premier League team that knows the right back he's going to be playing beside as well could be a shrewd bit of business, specifically if it's only on loan. I completely forgot what the word was there for loan, so I do apologize. I just had a little bit of a glitch there. Anyway, let's take a little look at this. I don't have much time. I'm just once again on another break from work here at the moment. So let's take a little look at these statistics. And you'd be surprised to know, statistically, he's arguably the best defender we have. Arguably. I'm going to say arguably. Callum Chambers' statistics here throw everything. They're the wild card with regards to the centre halves we have. And the simple fact for that is his sample set is so low. So things like his tackles are wildly out of whack, considering his sample set with the other 3 centre halves that we have. And we have Tyrone Mings in there. He's going to be the pinkish kind of colour. We have Kanza, whitish colour, and we have Jan Bednarek in the yellow colour. We can see there. So Chambers kind of thrown out a small bit out of whack, but when we see Bednarek, he's very much a kind of a go get ball guy. He's not going to go to ground that much. He's got pretty decent aerial dual ability, the same as Tyrone Mings, but much better than Ezri Konsa. And I think that's something that teams have picked on. Teams have just picked on Ezri Konsa the last couple of weeks, and we've seen it. We saw it last night. We saw it against Crystal Palace. They just drift out to that right side, specifically with the likes of Zaha and so on, and they just pick holes at Ezri Konsa. And I think that, you know, it's expedited our look for a centre half, specifically a right-sided centre half there as well. block he's statistically he's very similar to Tyrone Mings, except his output is a small bit better, and we can see it there. Mings is the pinkish line, and then once again, as I say, I'd nearly, if I had an opportunity to be able to turn off the layer there for Callum Chambers to show you what it is like without Callum Chambers and what it's like with Callum Chambers, just based on the fact that his sample set is so small for Aston Villa. But saying that as well, Chambers is like what Chambers is. We can see there what Chambers has shown for Aston Villa is that he gets about the field, doesn't he? You know, his pressure rate is high, his tackle rate is high, his pass attempts and so on. And I do know that he did play. Was it 2 games in central midfield for Aston Villa last year? So that could affect it, but I'm not 100% sure, as I say. But looking at the statistics that Bednarek has, look, he's not going to be one of these silky smooth defenders. He's not going to be take it down and play a pass 90 yards up the field. Okay, that's not what he's going to be. We've Kamara in front of him for something like that. Yes, it would be lovely to have that complete centre half. But when you look at his heat map here, it just goes to show his heat map dictates or shows here what I mentioned previously. He's used to coming wide. He's used to looking after a big patch of grass there, specifically when the right back goes forward, and you can see it. You can see that he's his athleticism is one of his big strengths. Doesn't pass the ball well, but that's absolutely fine. Look, as long as he can get the ball to a player in the same shirt and he stops people from playing, I'm okay with that. His aerial duel success is 64.1%, as we can see here, up around the same as Tyrone Mings, significantly better than both the Chambers, who is poor in the air based on his aerial success rate, once again with a small sample set, and also Ezri Konsa. So we do need to get better in the box, get better with balls into the box. We do need to get better with crosses. Do need to get better with from corner kicks and stuff like that. And Jan Bednarek is a block of a man. He should be able to help, just based on his height alone. He should be able to help with stuff like that. But look, it's a loan signing. A lot of people were going insane about the fact that we might be spending 15 million on somebody like Bednarek. Like that seems to be the going rate for any type of centre half, unless you're Willy Bolly at the moment. Willy Bolly, for whatever reason, went for 2 million and refused to show up for Wolves game and has gone to Forest. We'll see what happens with regards to that. But Jan Bednarek coming in for a year's loan, I think, is a pretty decent. It's shrewd enough, you know. Like, what are you going to do on deadline day? And then if you don't sign somebody, then fans are going to be up in arms as well. But getting somebody here that had 34 starts, 1 sub appearance, and 201 career appearances over his career, and is still only 26 years of age. Look, it is what it is. What it is. He's not going to be Franco Baresi, but he's going to offer something that we don't have already. And I must say, without being too critical of players that we have, you know, I think Konsa needs a spell out of the team. And whether Bednarek comes in directly or whether Chambers gets his chance and Bednarek has to win his way forward, well, then that's fine. At least we've got a battle going on there. And we've got some bit more height in the team. And as I say, that's something that we do need within the team as well. Where else are we? Pat Max asks, is this just a rumor or they in talks? This is confirmed and breaking that he will be signing on a 1-year loan deal, provided he passes medicals, by David Ornstein. David Ornstein was the man who broke this, David Ornstein of the Athletic fame. So yeah, that's what this is. This isn't. It doesn't seem like it's a rumor. I don't know, is anything ever guaranteed? But he said that he will sign on a 1-year deal. 1-year deal for sure. So Aston Villa and Tottenham are in negotiations for Lucas Moura and Leon Bailey swap deal. Let's see what comes of that. It's the first I've seen of it there. Sky Sports Lyle. Sky Sports Lyle was the guy who linked us to Jerson as well. So as I say, I don't know how credible Lyle is. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know what he looks like. He's one of the few people on Sky Sports that I don't know what they look like. Let me. Once again, great podcasting here from me. While I let you guys chew there, and I go in, I Google images of what people look like. Oh yeah, that's him. Oh yeah, I do know him. I didn't know that was how he spelled his name. But yeah, look, let's see how that one pans out. Lucas Moura for Leon Bailey. Don't know how to feel about that yet, but let's see how it does play out. AVFC agent Jared as well, just on this, and I will be back later on for a transfer window shuts podcast later on in the day, probably 11 o'clock. So if you guys are still up, I'd love if you could join me. I just have lots on today, and I won't actually be available until at least 11:15 or so. So the AVFC agent Jared says the clamour for Luis is mental. He's played over 100 games for us and never got out of second gear, cruises through the majority of games, and shows the odd bit of quality here and there. I'm baffled. I think more so the clamour for it is the fact that we're letting him go without replacing him. I think if we were to get 20-25 million for somebody who's in the last year of their deal, and if they're adamant that they want to sign a deal, I think that's good business, and I think that's something the club should do. But once again, it's also going to be predicated on replacements. We shouldn't be in the situation where we're looking for replacements on transfer deadline day, 5 games into a league season. But we are where we are, I think, and there's a lot actually that I kind of agree with you here, Gerard. I think our midfield has gone so stale because we've had 3 or 4 players that have been rotating in and around there all the time, and I think that staleness, it's hard to knock that off. And I think Luis may go on to Arsenal and play brilliant. He may progress. He may play way better in that different system. And look, that happens sometimes. But I think an argument could be made that while Douglas Luiz came on and played against West Ham, and we've been looking for him to be in the team, that that maybe move to a pasture new if he's not going to sign a new deal is something that probably is best for both parties, I would say, at this stage. If that is the case, I don't know, but I think you can get with that. Where else are we? Luke Harrison asked the Bedanrek deal still on. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's more or less a done deal, just waiting on announcement as per Fabrizio Romano. And where else are we? Yeah, listen, guys, I think I got to go back anyway as well. I got to go back to work. I do have a day job as well. I'm just on a break here, and as I saw this, I said I would come on. Thanks so much, everybody, for popping on. Been over 100 of you guys there. I really appreciate it. We'll be back later on with any other news, should I say, at 11 o'clock, and we will, if anything breaks between now and then, maybe I might have some time to pop on. But as I say, I really appreciate you all jumping on. Really appreciate it. Talk to you later. Jan Bednarek going to be a villain along with Leander Dendoncker is what it seems like. That's what all the reporting is, and hopefully a few more coming through the door, because by God, do we need reinforcements in midfield. So thanks very much, guys. See you later, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.